So hello guys, today is recording day number 1 and today I'll be recording the drums. The plan for today is extremely simple. I need to get a simple recording out of this drum kit right here because I'll be doing drum replacement in Superior Drummer 3. Basically, I'm relying more on the sample quality of Superior Drummer 3. However, I still wanted to get a real live recording because MIDI drums are still not quite there, even though the sample quality is extremely good. Still, it doesn't have the realistic sound of real drum kits, so that's why I'm combining the two. And therefore, I won't need to polish up really the mic placements. I need to get a very simple recording of the real drum kit. Now, let me show you what mics I'm using for recording today. First off, we have here the AKG D112, which is, let's say, it's the godfather of kick drum mics. It's a classic. Then we're moving on to the Neumann KM184 pair, which I'll use for overheads. And we also have a couple of SM57s, which I'll use for snare and toms. So these are the mics I'm using for recording drums today. The setup is pretty simple. And let me show you now how I set up the mics on the drum kit.
There are numerous ways to mic a drum kit. However, my setup is pretty simple as needed to be. Starting with the kick, I positioned the egg mic inside the bass drum. This captures the snap of the beat around the bat head while isolating the rest of the kit. Nextly, I mic'd up the snare drum with the SM57, which was 2 inches inside the rim and at 2 inches height. This height ensures that the fundamental resonance will be present as the mic is not too high, and as the mic is inside the rim, it captures a tight sound from the head. I mic'd up the toms with SM57s as well, with the mics pretty low in comparison to the mic that I put on the snare drum. It was at around 1 inch height, and the mic was outside the rim for more resonance of the body and a looser sound. When it comes to the overheads, I'm putting the Neumann pair above the cymbals. It is important to measure that both mics are at an equal distance from the snare so that there are no phase and latency issues. To do so, I'm simply using an XLR cable. After that, I did the necessary sound check and routing to Logic, did a test recording, and with that, I was ready to record the song.
So hello guys, today is recording day number 2 and today we're recording guitars. We record bass guitar first, then we record Adam's guitar and Liam's guitar afterwards, lead and rhythm. We've got everything set up here on the Mac. I've set up all the channels in, all the headphones, etc. Now let me quickly show you how I set up the mics on the amps. The setup is pretty simple. I'm using basic SM57s for all the amps. Hey Leo.
How do you guys?
Alright, first off we have the bass amp here. I'm using, again, as I said, SM57. I've just slightly moved it off the center, so I roll off a bit of the top end, but I'm keeping it up close. Then we have Adam's guitar, which is lead guitar. I put it just slightly like off the center and away from the amp. So again, I wanted to keep most of the highs because it's a lead guitar. I needed to cut through the mix, but actually I put it a bit further because I want mic to catch a bit more of the resonance of the room. This room is treated, so there will be no problem with leakage, etc. Yeah, and then there is Liam's guitar over here. I've kind of done the same thing. Put it a bit off the center and tilted it a bit off axis so it can cut a bit of the highs. I wanted a darker tone, so I put it a bit more off the center compared to the other guitars. And that's it. The setup is pretty simple and we're ready to record, so that's what we'll do now. So hi guys, this is recording day number 3. We're recording vocals today. Adam is here.
Hello.
We're recording his vocals first. I'm using the AKG C414 with the carryout mode, a bit of a high pass filter,
Also I've plugged in the mic in the lovely Universal Audio tone blending preamp that we've got here in college. Basically what I want from it is to get a bit more bite with the transistors mode. I'm basically blending between transistors and tubes. I want a bit more bite for the vocals, so that's why I've blended more. I've put more of the transistor sound in it. But however, because it's like transistor and tube, it will give me a really fat and rich sound that I wouldn't otherwise get without this preamp, and it's on a fast setting, so I'm getting more saturation. And that's it. The setup is simple. Now we're going to record. Okay, guys. So the song is done. I've already edited the song, mixed and mastered it. And what I'll do now, I'll do a quick mix down of what I've done, what plugins I've used, how my session looks like, etc. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so we're in Ableton again, and this is how my session looks like. You see that I'm using Superior Drummer 3, and as I said in the recording part of the video, I'm doing drum replacement, which I've already done, and I'll show you where. So what I did, I've already done it in this section here, and what I basically put all the original recordings. I played around with them, made some adjustments, I reduced the bleed, etc. And after that, I exported that into MIDI files, which you can see over here. This is the MIDI that I exported from the original audio drum replacement, and that allowed me to edit the audio even more. And what I've done from here is this track has been right, I'll show here. So basically this is the mixer here, and I've got all these tracks here, kick in, kick out, kicks up, etc., buses, etc., and I've routed them out into the DAW, and I have all the tracks I need here. I'm not using, I believe, 2 of them, and basically that allows me for even more detailed processing, because I'm using custom plugins, not the stock ones that are in Superior Drummer 3. And here you can see I've put into little buses, little groups, the kick in and out into a kick bus, a snare top and bottom into a snare bus, all the tones into one bus, etc. That's what I've done with the drums. When it comes to the rest, the rest is pretty simple. I've comped the vocals over here. Then I did the same with the bass. I kept pretty much everything the same as it was. There's only one thing that I changed. We recorded 2 guitars. For the guitar solo, we recorded clean and distorted guitar, and in this case, I didn't like the distorted guitar. I couldn't fit it in, so I used the clean guitar and I processed it into making it a bit more crunchy and bitey, if you like to say it like that. Then we have the guitar outro and the 2 guitars. Everything is pretty much the same. When it comes to the Adam's guitar, which is one of the rhythm guitars, I copied some of the parts into the guitar solo, because we didn't record those parts. We didn't think that we would need them, but for the sake of the stereo image, I decided to play around a bit with that, and I copied that there as well. And you can see that here there's only 1 track for the guitar solo. For everything else I have left and right. I usually like to do that because in my opinion stereo is always superior and nothing can replace that. However, in this case we did only recordings in mono. I did only one recording, and what I've done here is I've used a really good double that's turned out by Output, which is extremely good. It's fascinating. It's amazing double, and I highly recommend it. I think you can get yourself one of those. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the arrangement and into the editing really of the song. Next thing, going to the mixing tab. What I've done here, levels first of all. Nice trick that I usually do is to keep the headroom. I go to my master and I put one of these utility plugins and I turn up the gain to 6. So in that way, I'm mixing normally. I'm mixing I try to keep everything below 0. And when I turn this off, when I turn the utility plugin off, everything goes down to -6. And in this way, I have the headroom I need without getting confused with doing the math with with all the minus numbers, etc. It's just a nice trick to know. Really, it can be helpful in the workflow. Right. So here, let me show you first what I've done with the drums, because that's the first thing I did in the mix, and that's usually one of the first things I do in a mix. It's either the drums or the vocals, and in this case I really needed to focus on the drums first. And the first thing is balance the drum kit, balance the levels. I start with the kick drum and I balance everything else around it. And also the ambience, that's pretty much up to taste really, and I tried it easier to balance that perfectly when I had done all the other parts of the song, because that way I could like push the drums a bit more into the music, and it was just easier to control. And let me digest it here. Kick in and out, no processing there. I put processing straight on the bus. The EQ is quite interesting here. I used the sidechain mode, and it was sidechained to the bass so that I could see where there's masking. For instance, let me play the bass and the kick so you can hear and see what's really happening. You can see that it shows me where the masking is. I can see that there's a bit of bass in the bass frequencies. The bass is occupying these frequencies, but I want them for my kick drum. And I boosted just a bit here, the kick drum. A bit of cleaning the rumble there, resonance, cutting the mids here, to make room for the bass as well, and a bit of boost around 5k for a bit of click. And if I go now to the bass EQ, you can see the same thing. I've carved out this space here around 80 Hz, which was occupied by the bass, and you could show it here. It's still occupied, and it's still a bit of masking there. So what I've done is I'm going between the kick and the bass because this is the easiest way to sort the relationship between the kick and bass. I usually do this like that. I'll first do this in solo, and then I'll edit it into the mix. I'll adjust it, and really the thing I needed to do as well is sidechain compression right over here. A bit of sidechain compression did a lot, and you can hear the difference. Right, let's get back to the kick drum. Right, the next thing is transient shaper. I wanted a bit more punch, turn the attack a bit up, classic mode, sustain a bit down, so it's tight. And this knob is fascinating. Shout out to XLN Audio. Their plugins are amazing for drums and everything percussion really. This makes the kick drum really tight. If you can just listen as I turn it up, you can hear how it gets tighter, and it's amazing. It works wonders. The next plugin, bit of saturation here, and not just a bit. This Abbey Road saturator by Waves completely changed the kick drum, which I love, and it's amazing how I did. This plugin helped me to achieve that difference in just one scroll of this knob. It was just fascinating. Right. Next thing, snare. I have a bit of processing on the snare top and bottom mics. Here I have a bit of EQ, cleaning up a bit of resonances, cleaning a bit the 5K region. And next thing, again, transient shaper. I want a bit more punch. I want the snare to sound a bit tighter. I'm not extreme with those settings because I didn't think I need to be. It's just really subtle detail, but it's extremely important. And the famous low end trick using the Putec equalizer. When you boost and attenuate low frequencies at the same time, you have that nice resonant curve, which is amazing because it cleans up the rumbly low end, and it boosts exactly at 100 Hz, which is the thing that I needed for my snare drum. And next, the bottom, kind of simple. I've boosted the high end because I wanted a bit of air. Then I had this on mids. I boosted a bit. The frequency is around 5K for a bit of presence. And lastly, again, transient shaper. Here I wanted more attack. I wanted more of the more of the sound of the wire, so I turned up the attack and I killed the sustain a bit, so I can still contain the melodic sound of the wires. And when I go to the bus, EQ, compression, saturation. And here I have my reverb. I've put a plate reverb here for a bit more width. Compression, extremely simple. This snare drum didn't need a lot of processing, a lot of compression, so I went for -3 decibels gain reduction. Here this Mac EQ is just amazing. It works wonders. It's really clean. It's extremely clean. A lot of clarity there, and saturation as well. Again, completely changing the snare drum sound. And nextly, I had a bit of EQ, cleaning up the lows, and then I'm using the Putec EQ just to boost the heights and add that smooth, sweet high end. Then toms, no processing on the bus because the toms didn't need any processing. I'm using the SSL channel e-channel strip, and I'm actually using some of the presets that are here for the toms. And I've basically always before leaving the plugin, after I put on a preset, always checking the output. It has to stay the same after all the processing I do. Nextly, again, another channel strip for the overheads, which are with mic'd with a condenser mic, emulation, analog sound. Again, I'm using a preset here and tweaking everything a bit. But again, those presets are pretty good. I didn't have to do much editing. And here I'm using a Kush audio emulation of the distressor, a compressor for the ambience, just to add a bit of color. Here I have a bit of saturation. The cool thing is that I can control the mix. I have a mix knob here, which is amazing. The different types of compression that a distressor compressor offers, and here this density knob controls how many it controls the saturation of the either tops or mid frequencies, which is again it gives a lot of control and it's really nice. This is drum kit without any processing on.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes, away from the line. I'm like, you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me, you're losing me. Keep.
Now this is a drum kit with all the processing on.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes, away from the line. I'm like, you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me, you're losing me. Keep.
Tons of difference. Right, let's move on to the vocals. Here I have on the bass just a bit of glue compression, and I've messed around with a bit of tube and tape saturation. The tape saturation is for rolling off a bit of the highs and making everything warm, and it's after the tube compression because the tube compression offers a lot of high-end harmonics, and I wanted to roll that off a bit and make the vocals a bit warmer. However, with the tube, I use the tube specifically because adding more harmonics, I wanted to boost the mids, and that's what I've done here. I've boosted a bit, I've turned up a bit the drive knob here on the mid band, which I have selected for my vocals, and etc. So let's move to the first vocal. First vocal, auto-tune, a bit of gate to clean up, the breath plugin by Waves Audio, which attenuates the breaths, vocal rider to keep the level even, EQ here to clean up the walls and the mud, de-esser to clean up the SS just before the compression, because the compressor that I used here is a distressor. It's an aggressive compressor, and there's saturation here, and if I don't attenuate the SS before it, then it will sound messy a bit. Again, equalizer here, boosting the high end for adding extra air, and boosting a bit of the mids, 500 for vowels, and 2K for more presence. And here we have saturation, again, diode saturator, the knob at around 60-70%, and I've used again a preset which is extremely good, and as always tweaking it a bit to suit the vocal. And lastly, I have here a tube modulator just to add a bit of movement into the vocal. And nextly we have here Scarlett's vocal, the same chain pretty much, auto-tune, the breath, vocal rider. I don't have here again because I didn't need it. I didn't need the gate, EQ, again cleaning up low end muddiness, and I cut out a bit around 2K so I can have a bit more space for Adam's vocal. De-esser again before the compressor. That's how I usually prefer to run it. I find it easier to navigate the de-essing before the compression. And here for the compressor, I have medium attack and I have fast release with the backing mode, and I've turned the mix knob down just a bit, and I'm going for around between 3 and 5 decibels gain reduction because the vocal rider did its job pretty well in the beginning, so I don't need a lot of compression, I don't need more than that. Again, boosting air around 10k, and boosting the mids, I boosted a bit at 2k, then 500 for vowels, kind of the same thing. I've played with saturation here, where I used tubular saturation to boost the mids, saturate the mids, because the vocal lacked that mid presence, and again tube modulator just to add movement into the vocal. Cut. Okay, so here now we have the vocals, no processing on.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes, away from the line. Like you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me, you're losing me.
And now, turning on everything with the bus processing as well.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes, away from the line. Like you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me, you're losing me. Keep.
Great. Moving on to the bass. So here we have the first plugin, the Maserati, plugin by Waves Audio, which is kind of a DI box for bass guitars. I used the preset more punch because I needed more articulation in my bass. The amp distortion was too much. Then channel EQ, cleaning up the rumble, cleaning up, making room for the kick drum, boosting where we curved out the mids for in the kick drum, so there's actually a space for the bass notes, and cutting at 3k because there was too much amp distortion going on. Nextly, I have this bass rider plugin, which is amazing. Same principle as vocal rider. It helps keep the level between different notes that are playing. Nextly, we have a compressor. I went for 3 decibels gain reduction, turned down a bit the mix knob, a bit slower medium release and medium attack, because I already had a bass rider, so I didn't need a lot of compression. The dynamics were good. Then this compressor, which is sidechain compressor. Also this Smack Attack plugin, which is amazing. Transient Shaper, it helped me bring more articulation into the bass by turning up the attack, so you can hear more the notes. Right, and let's hear it now, the bass without any processing and with on.
There on the blues that sound quite as broken as mine. Live life by the day, a sudden waste of time. My fears turn to.
Okay, moving on to the guitars. First rhythm guitar, 3 plugins, simple as that. 2 guitars are panned to the left, and I have a bit of automation on the panning, which changes on the bridge and the guitar solo. But let's go to the plugins. First plugin, simply filters, cutting the low end, making room for the bass and the drums, and cutting up the highs. We don't want any unnecessary hiss, and also clearing a bit for the overheads for cymbals. Nextly, channel strip, EQ, and compressor by Waves SSL. Again, I've used a preset and changing up a bit The EQ, I've changed a bit the frequencies selected, and the gain reduction that I wanted. And nextly we have the Neutron plugin, which is extremely helpful because here I don't need I just needed to do this quickly, and I just turn on mix assistant, and then after that it has selected the plugins for me. I just controlling the sound I want with the mix knobs. Extremely simple and extremely good. Right, let's hear the guitar without processing on, and then wait.
There are the blues that sound quite as broken as mine. Live life by the day, a sudden waste of time. My fears turn to beers and
Right, so moving on to the next guitar, which is for the guitar solo part. I started with a saturator first, tape emulation. I used this wide overdrive preset here. I wanted the guitar to sound wider because, as I said, it's a mono recording. I use this preset, and then I simply just gain staged everything. Next plugin, again the Neutron 3, same procedure. Clicking on the mix assistant knob and controlling the sound with the mix knobs of each plugin. Later on, this thermal plugin by Output, which I used for the dabbler. I used this preset Dark and Dangerous, and I cut a bit, turned down a bit the space, which would be the reverb, and turned a bit more the drive, and I'm controlling with the dry and wet knob here, and then this amazing delay. I put a tape delay here, kind of a slap. I aim for a slap sound, and here I've cut a bit low, so I left the highs because I want them to slap as well. And then the color knob right here, turned just a bit up, and controlling the mix again here, and the gain stage. Now let's hear the guitar solo with and without processing.
keep pushing you down, but
Okay, next is the guitar outro part. Again, as I said, channel strip, 80 electric guitar 1%, changing up the EQ a bit, and adjusting the compression. Late after that, we have the SUDI 2. I used that to turn down a bit the 5K region because there was a lot of hits going on there. And then we have this again, the repeated delay, slap back guitar preset, again save delay. I select that one because I wanted I want those parts, guitar solo and the guitar outro part, which are lead guitar parts, to be bright and in phase. And again, mixing up here, controlling the gain stage. Now let's hear the guitar outro. Without processing. As I said, I wanted that in the face of the listener. And lastly, last guitar here, we have we're starting with EQ, cleaning up everything, because the guitars, the stolen guitars, they want to occupy the whole mix. They want everything they can get in the frequency spectrum. We need to control that. Next, we have Here again, as a channel strip, I'm using these strips because it's extremely easy to use it. The EQ and compression are there in one plugin, and they sound extremely good, extremely simple to use. And again, in its analog sound, it's analog emulation, which adds well, we have very much desired warmth and pleasant distortion. And here again, Newton 3, same thing, mix assistant, and then I'm controlling with sound of each plugin with the mix knob. Extremely helpful because you can make the mixes quickly without much hassle, and it just sounds good, you know. It just sounds good. What can I say? And after that, we have again tape saturation here. I wanted white rock sound, not that much saturation. So I'm controlling the in, the amount saturation with this knob, the out, gain staging. The bias is set to +3, speed is 15, and I use the 1815 formula for the tape sound, which just makes everything punchy and still gives color as well. Now let's hear the guitar without any processing on, and then with.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes away from the light. Now you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me. You're losing me. Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back.
Right. Nextly, final parts of the mix, reverb and delay time-based effects. Firstly, I'm using this plugin by Rewap. This plugin is an emulation of the famous lexicon reverb. The mix is set to 50%, and I'm using a large whole sound. And this is my main reverb, where I've sent every single track really, the drum bars, the bass, and the guitars and vocals to make everything sound coherent. And let's hear the mix now without this reverb. Let's see how it sounds.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes away from the light. Now you can't catch me from this insanity.
And now with the reverb on.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes away from the light. Now you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me. You're losing me. Keep
Just natural, really. Next thing is this Vox verb, where I usually put my vocal delay and reverb. I use the H delay plugin by Waves Audio, and I use the slap in the face preset. That's pretty much it, and I've cut the highs and lows for more control and fit it in the mix. And then again, I use the same reverb, same lexical emulation reverb, and I've controlled the mix. This is the preset vocal splash. But again, I'm actually paying attention to the settings, and I'm controlling everything. I won't go in much detail because it will take me a lot of time. But I'm controlling the decay, pre-delay, the shape, the whole shape size, the stereo width as well. That's an amazing control that Reverb offers as well. There are some filters here, the diffusion knob, which controls how dense the reverb is, etc. So now let's hear the vocals. Pay attention to the vocals with and without. First will be without.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes away from the line. Now you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me. You're losing me. Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes away from the line. Now you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me. I'm losing me.
A lot of width there, and still that the slap delay makes the vocal sit up front while it gives width. Nextly, we have classic New York compression. I'm using the Uray 1176 emulation by Waves, Blackie version. I like that for doing New York compression. Ratio set to O, fast attack, slow release, killing the transients, completely destroying the dynamics. And I've put here, I've sent here the drums and guitars to make them really more sit a bit more with the vocals, but still not too much. We just want to drag them a bit up front in the mix. Let's hear with and without.
Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes away from the line. Now you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me. You're losing me. Keep pushing you down, but you're crawling back. Keep hiding my eyes away from the line. Now you can't catch me from this insanity. You can't catch me. I'm losing me.
That's it. Subtle difference, but it's something I needed. And lastly, this vocal delay plugin is just for effects, really. In this case, where I've used tube modulator for movement, I've added I've added vibrator here and wolf water sound for movement as well. And there I have two delays for effect, which is basically I went for call and response thing, using the plexi echo sound for more mids, dense echoes, and I have reverb here to push the delays just a bit back. Now let's hear with how this is specific for the bridge, by the way. Let's hear how this sounds with and without that effect.
I am losing me. Please, please.
Again.
I am losing me. Please, please set me free.
And now it.
I am losing me. Please, please set me free. And
the lyrics are extreme. The lyrics are a crucial part here. And they said, "And I'm losing me." And after the chorus and everything else, where the song is really everything sounds punchy and aggressive, and here with the lyrics, "I'm losing me," I wanted to make that effect like a bit, let's say, a bit blurry, like tranquillant as well. I wanted to make that kind of effect, so this is the purpose of this thing. And this is here a quick mix down of my mix, and I'll show you now what I did for the mastering. The mastering was extremely simple. It's extreme. You should know, if you don't know, check them out. You should know Isotope Company. They make extremely good plugins for audio editing, and not just for mastering and mixing. The Neutron, by the way, plugin that I use here is again by Isotope. they make amazing plugins, and they also make plugins for restoring and treating bad audio, which is the RX series. Again, amazing plugin, saves a lot. It just saves you a lot of hassle. Right, here is the track, and I've put only one plugin, which is the Ozone 10. This is the mastering plugin of the company. Basically, what I've done here, I pressed this assistant view that analyzes my track, and after that I have this. Here in this section, targets, I can decide how I want the plugin to address the song. If I'm aiming for country sound or hip hop or etc. And with this plus button here, I can add tracks, reference tracks, which the plugin will analyze and then edit, and then use to edit the song. And basically here I have 4 main sections, which is EQ match. This controls how much of the matching of the EQ I will put in there. The stabilizer, which is a new plugin, again used to stabilize the dynamics. It's kind of a multi-band compressor thing. It's kind of that. Then with match, which is for the stereo image. Again, this only controls the width in reference to the track that I use. It's a reference, which is, by the way, the song "This Fire" by Franz Ferdinand, which is a track made for the Cyberpunk game. And by the way, the song musically is inspired by that one, so that's why I use that track as reference. And also dynamics match. It matches the dynamics, meaning compressor, compression of song. And here in this view, I have all the plugins, and I can have a detailed look. I tweaked a bit because, as I said, you have to tweak when you use presets, because you have to make the presets accommodating to your song. I've tweaked a bit everything here, and especially with the limiter. I aimed for the level I wanted, and this is kind of it. Okay guys, so that wraps it up for today's video. I hope you found it useful to see how I record my music, how I edit, mix and master everything. I'm a producer, that's what I love to do all day long. I hope you found it useful. I hope to see you soon again. And remember, check the song out, I'm in Trouble by Attic Dweller, soon on all major music platforms. See you guys soon.